La combatente do canoas da guerra. In today's video, we are going to talk about the difficulty of producing cotton gunpowder, right, which is the base of the explosives going to Ukraine. Europe is having trouble producing this, and I will explain why and what impact it has on the war. But before starting, I wanted to tell you that I am Commander Robinson-Farinazzo, a Navy Reserve officer, and this is the ARTE de Guerra channel, a platform for military, strategic, and geopolitical analyses with a professional focus. So if you're new here, right, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, share it, and if you can help with super stickers, super chat, or become a member, you are helping our channel.
Se tornar membro, você está ajudando aí o nosso canal. Dito isso, vamos ao nosso assunto.
That said, let's move on to our topic for today. Well, if you do a search on YouTube now, or on social media, looking for ammunition factories in Europe, what they will probably show you is the shell factories, the ammunition cartridge cases. I'll show you this model here. This would be the case. They show case factories. Why? This is actually the easiest part to make. It's a casting, machining job, etc. So you have several factories. The whole issue is that the production of ammunition for Ukraine doesn't depend only on this. You need the explosives that go into the grenade.
Depende só disso. Você precisa dos explosivos que vão na granada. Então, o explosivo que faz a detonação, né?
So the explosive that causes the detonation, the explosive in the grenade itself, and so on. What happens? These explosives use gunpowder, which is nitrocellulose powder. How is this powder made? You receive treated cotton, and this cotton undergoes a series of special substances. There's a special process, and nitrocellulose powder burns so quickly that if you use a lighter and throw a piece of this cotton, it doesn't reach the ground, it burns before. It's an impressive thing. It gives a very high burning speed. So what happens? The whole problem is that European factories, Europe, due to its climate, do not produce cotton.
Que as fábricas europeias, a Europa pelo clima dela não produz algodão. Então ela importa o algodão todo da onde?
So, where does she import all the cotton from? From China. And what happens? The Chinese have halted the sale of cotton to Europe. The United States and China are the largest cotton producers in the world. The problem isn't that. It's not a matter of production. China processes the cotton just as it processes rare earths and everything else you can think of. So what happens? Despite the United States having a large stock of cotton, they can't supply Europe's arms industry because they don't process it. The processing all comes from China, and China has now halted the sale. So what happens?
A China travou a venda agora. Aí que acontece? Os europeus descobriram que tem algumas firmas aí.
The Europeans discovered that there are some companies in Finland, etc., that can make this nitrocellulose from reforested wood, which can be used as a substitute. The whole problem is that I don't know if it's economically viable, and also that they don't have enough reforested wood, if they are even going to use reforestation. Greta Thunberg is keeping an eye on this, if they are going to use only reforestation, and it will have to be on a gigantic scale to meet the production intended for Ukraine. Ukraine wants 1 million shells, and people simply can't deliver. So it's a very serious problem. The Chinese have outmaneuvered Europe.
Problema seríssimo. O chinês deu uma trapa na Europa. Essa que é a verdade. O europeu não tem para onde correr.
This is true. Europeans have nowhere to run. I did a lot of research. We've been working on this subject for about 4 days. And there's a person. He lives in Thailand, named Brian Berletic. You should look him up. His channel is very good. He does excellent analyses. He said something that might be true. He said, look, this delay that the American Congress is causing with the money going to Ukraine is intentional. And it's not because they're upset with Biden. It's because even if they release the money, the United States won't have ammunition to deliver. So it's going to look very bad for the American proxies. It might be true. I found this hypothesis that Berletic raised very interesting. The fact is that things have really hit rock bottom.
O fato é que a coisa bateu no fundo do poço mesmo. Você não tem fábricas em quantidades suficientes, as cadeias produtivas.
You don't have enough factories. The supply chains are in China. I had already talked about the antimony problem months ago, so it's very complicated. And on the other hand, I also learned something else today in a research I did. The Russians are recycling a very large number of artillery shells. So the shells, this part that fires here, the grenade comes out. They keep this, send it back to the factory, and the factory reindustrializes these shells. So, besides the Russian production being huge, they are working in 3 shifts. Russia has the entire supply chain, with the collaboration of Iran, North Korea, and probably China. Even if China doesn't help, it can hinder Europe, as I showed you in this video. So the artillery problem in the Ukraine war is very serious, extremely serious. Just today, there was a huge outcry. Today, we are talking about Sunday, March 10th, the beginning of Ramadan. There was a huge outcry because 2 HIMARS launchers were destroyed in Ukraine. The whole issue is not that Russia destroys them. The United States can replace them. It's a very big job to do. American industries, as I've told you, are small. On paper, they seem gigantic. In practice, it's just propaganda. What is happening in this Ukraine war? We are seeing the importance of having a strong military industry. Something we don't have in Brazil. I keep emphasizing this. Now, I was thinking today about something very interesting. When you conduct such a large research, as you see, researching dozens of documents, a lot of things come to mind. So, for example, the French are saying they will set up a munitions factory in Ukraine. That's crazy. They won't set it up because Russia will destroy it. But when you see this, you start thinking about something else. If Europe goes to war with Russia, as they are saying, they won't be able to manufacture anything strategic. Russia will bomb everything. That's the truth. You will rely on all the ammunition coming from the United States, South Korea, and Japan. Because in Europe itself, nothing will remain. The industries will all be destroyed. That's the truth. Russia today already has long-range missiles capable of hitting industries anywhere in Europe. So people are not thinking about this. If you go to war with Russia today, your industries will be bombed. Because I think NATO planners are addicted to something quite bad. Since they use a cat's paw, they pass the information to Ukraine. Ukraine goes there and does the job, sinks ships, etc. Today, even the commander of the Russian Navy resigned. He must have been forced to resign, and his position was also unsustainable. We'll talk about this later in another video. But since they were hitting with the cat's paw, everything was fine. Except in a war with Russia, these sensors will be taken down. I have no doubt about that. They will put this wax on the ground, Russia will take it down, will already threaten Thalas, etc. So it won't be the walk in the park that Macron is talking about. I think Macron is crazy. He wants to do something with this. But if he is well advised, the person will tell him, comrade, if the French armed forces get into this adventure, they are not in a position to come out on the other side. So this is the situation we have today. China made a masterful move in Europe. Masterful. That's the truth. Because what happened is, Europe and the United States, it was even a revenge by the Chinese. Because a few years ago, Europe and the United States in 2021, 2022, I don't know, they banned the purchase of Chinese cotton produced in Xinjiang. China circumvented this by buying cotton from Pakistan, Vietnam, and other countries, just processing it there. But of course, it's always a hassle. And now China retaliated, saying, look, you won't buy my cotton to make t-shirts, but you also won't buy the cotton to make nitrocellulose. So, it's a very complicated situation. China today dominates the logistics chains. That's the truth. And without a logistics chain, you can't wage war. That's a fact. So that was our video today. You have to think a lot about this. I wanted to invite you for March 19th. Now we are going to have a webinar with Dr. Rodolfo Laterza, one of the great Brazilian authorities on the war in Ukraine. The registration link is here in the description. It's going to be very cool. It will be at 9 p.m. Brasilia time. I will participate. Albert Cabale will also be there. So it will be a great opportunity for you to clear up many doubts and learn a lot about the war in Ukraine.
sobre a guerra na Ucrânia. E então, estou encerrando o vídeo. Eu peço para vocês
So, I'm wrapping up the video. I ask you to subscribe to our channel. If you can send a pix, it's here in the description to help the channel as well. And subscribe to our Telegram, ARTE de Guerra channel, and also to the community of the channel, which is ARTE de Guerra channel on Twitter. In the community, you have a great ease of interacting with our production team, because in smaller environments, it's easier for us to interact with the subscriber, plus you receive more updated news. We'll meet in today's live, always with responsibility and commitment. Faith in Brazil, folks. See you later.
Compromisso. Fé no Brasil, pessoal. Até mais.